What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Welcome back for another virtual review. We have The Wire season 1 episode 8. So we pick up this episode. McNulty is out with his kids and he actually stumbles into gold. Okay, he sees Stringer Bell. Now this man has trained his kids in the art of surveillance, and so he makes it a game for them, and he has them following Stringer Bell through the market. They're like at the, if you go to, what I'm talking about, the market, and he actually sees them leave. Well, the kids follow him. He done lost the kids. He went to go get the car. He done lost his kids. But the kids are still on Stringer Bell, honey. And he didn't even pay them no mind because they were just a bunch of, white kids running around the market. His son ends up getting Stringer Bell's tag number, which is going to stumble them into some gold. We'll get back to that. Then we see frickin' Frack, Herc and the other dude getting ready to take the sergeant's exam. Herc ain't really paying it no attention. The other guy's taking it real seriously. They getting ready for the sergeant's exam. Pastrami Sandwich comes through, or Prez. Some of y'all don't like his nickname, but whatever. He comes through and he says, listen, y'all gonna have to start following these guys out the pit because we know that they're no longer using the payphones, so we can get some data. Honey, they give him the blues. They're like, listen, who are you? You don't have no sergeant stripes. You don't get to tell me what to do, when to do, how to do it. I'm not understanding what your problem is. So he just kind of walks off because, then they start bringing up his past, how he done shot up the car and everything. 2 seconds later, who come past? Kima. And Kima says, what? Y'all need to start following these dudes out the pit so we know where they're going on the payphone. And, of course, when Kima says it, they don't even question it. So down to the hood, we see Bodie and all of them tearing up this apartment. Come to find out, it's Omar's apartment, or his, where he's dwelling. We see pictures of him and Brandon together and all that, and of course they making fun of it. So they trash this little spot, and they end up setting fire to his van. Now he's in somebody else's apartment, and he's watching the whole thing. He saw them. So he ain't say nothing. He just let them do what they was going to do. Now back down to the police station. McNulty is running his tag number. He lets Bunk in on, what it is that he did, how he got the tag number and everything. So he's running the tag number. They find out that the car that Stringer Bell's driving, of course, it's not in his name. It's in some woman's name that lives out in the county. So, of course, now they got a little trail that they can follow. And y'all know how McNulty is, like a dog with a bone. Now, back down to the hood, we see Wallace is he's still depressed, right? And anyway, shit. Y'all know I'm trying to get my names. But they're telling him, look, they missing you down in the pit. Dee been asking about you. You need to get your ass back to work. And he's like, listen, I'll be there when I get there. Leave me alone. His hair's all half done, and the little boy asked for help with his math homework. He wouldn't help the little boy. And they're telling him, look, you really need to get your shit together. Because, I don't know what's going on here, but you need to get it together. Wallace is like, listen, I'll be there when I get there. Let me get some money. Because, of course, he's getting high now. And now it looks like he has developed a real habit. Like, a real habit. So, finally, he breaks down. This lets you know how smart he is. The little boy still can't figure out the math problem. Wallace takes the math problem and breaks it down into a drug problem. And about, if you got this many packs and this person gives you this much money and the pack costs this much, how much money you going to end up with at the end. And the boy's able to figure it out. And he said, so I don't understand. How can you figure out the math when it's drugs, when it's, the drug money, but you can't figure it out when it's regular math? He was like, cause if I get the count wrong, I'm gonna get beat up. And of course that brings Wallace right back to the reality of this is what the fuck I'm in the middle of. Meanwhile, back in the boiler room, they done picked up on the wire that there's gonna be a package, but what it looks like is that it's a package leaving out of the towers, not going into the towers. And of course they're like, what in the world is going on? So they go down there so they can get themselves positioned and they could, be there ready for the drop. So they end up pulling old boy over. They wait for the exchange or whatever. They pull boy over. And who is it? It's Donnell Rollins again. Remember, Donnell Rollins was a driver at the mayor's party when him and Lieutenant Daniels got, had a conversation about robbing the house. And Come to find out, it's him. And not only was he not picking up drugs, he was picking up money. But what's more important is that he is a driver for your boy, the state senator, who's going to become very important as we move forward. And so that becomes a very sticky situation. In the meantime, Bodie and Stickum and them, they done picked up D to take D out for lunch. Now, I'm not quite sure what they was taking D out for, but they were. D's dumbass, he starts talking to them because of course they telling him about, Stickum getting his own spot and how they gotta clear that land out of the guys that are there running the drugs right now. But it's not a big deal. They'll be able to run them out. That's not gonna be a hard job. D starts telling them about Orlando and how Orlando got this plan to start running drugs through the towers. And so they was like, yo, you talked to your uncle about that? He was like, nah, I mean, it's just a little something to make a little money on the side. And it's like, he don't even understand how serious what he's saying is and how big of a violation what he's saying is. And I don't know what made him think they wasn't going to go back and tell his uncle. But of course, they did. They ran back and they told his uncle, and his uncle proceeded to confront Orlando about it. And, pretty much whoop Orlando's ass and embarrass him in front of the girls. Because his uncle was like, listen, all I ask you to do is you got to keep your name clean because you the front for my damn business. I can't have you out here running drugs. One, you cutting into my business, which is disrespectful. But two, I need you to keep your name clean because that's the reason why I got your name on all my paperwork, because you don't have no felonies or nothing. So if you out here running drugs, there's going to be a problem. Child. So they get Donnell Rollins down to the precinct, and he tells them who he works for. And so now they go to Lieutenant Daniels, and it becomes a whole thing. Lieutenant Daniels has to go all the way up to the deputy of operations and talk to him about it, the black guy, and talk to him about it and get his 2 cents on it. He told him, he said, listen, I started this whole situation to pacify a judge so that y'all could get a couple of little, drug busts. He said, I did not start this whole situation for y'all to start following the money and figuring out that we got the state senators connected to all that's going on. Like, this has become too much. The scope is gone beyond what I expected. He was like, and we shutting this shit down at the end of the week. He's like, give him his money back and we shutting this whole thing down. Boom. So of course, y'all know Daniels was just like, he goes back to McNulty and he tells McNulty, yeah, we're going to have to shut this down because, it's all about the money and, it's politics and, we wasn't ready for all of that. So, of course, y'all know, McNulty. He's pissed. He can't take no for an answer. McNulty ends up going to the judge and tells the judge what's going on and breaks it to the judge. Now, remember last week the judge got mad when McNulty didn't come to him about when there was a problem. So, McNulty went to the judge, and guess what? The judge handled it. Next thing you know, they back up and running. But of course, McNulty's name is motherfucking mud again. Child, it's a mess. It's a whole cycle here. Hold on. In the meantime, while all of that is going on with the money and stuff, Weebay and Stickum and all of them, they are having a hell of a party. They are celebrating the fact that Stickum now has his own package and he gonna have his own little territory. And they got girls, they have drugs, they got alcohol, they doing what they do, they getting it in. It's just a big old ass orgy, drug filled, whatever. D comes through, and of course y'all know D is a fish out of water. That's just not his thing. That's just not how he roll. He tries to talk to Orlando. Orlando give him the side eye because of course Orlando knows that D is the one that let Barksdale know what the dealio was. We see D'Angelo runs out to go they send him on a beer run. He runs out to go re-up with the liquor. By the time he come back, the party over. They sitting around watching TV, smoking weed. And he like, well, what's going on? They were like, man, it got too out of hand. We had to break it up. So he was like, well, what you mean it got too out of hand? We got to break it up. He said, what's up with her? Chick in the back. Naked. He knows that she's from the club. From Orlando's, from the strip club. He goes in there. She dead. And D'Angelo kind of looking at them like, it's just a dead girl. what the fuck? Like, and they are so unbothered by the whole situation. They are sitting there like it's not a big deal. Like it ain't just a dead lady. They were like, well, you know, she like to overdo it. So she didn't overdose on drugs, and they sitting there like they don't know. Daniel's just talking to his wife, telling his wife, you know, what's going on, how things are going at work. And, you know, his wife is the one with the plan. His wife is like, listen, don't, you know, just do what you got to do. Follow whatever rules they telling you to follow. You know, you didn't do anything wrong. So Daniel's just talking to his wife, and he's explaining, listen, you know, everything was cool when we were following the drugs, but now that we following the money, everybody's getting nervous, and that's why they're trying to shut it down, you know, because you start following the money, then you start getting involved with who's really doing what. And it's went all the way up to a state senator, and so they like, we're not playing them games. All right, we're not playing them games. You know, like I said, that state senator Clay Davis is going to become very important as we continue to move forward with this story. So I was wrong. McNulty didn't go to the judge. The judge went to McNulty and was like, I got the memo saying that they're about to take the wire down. What's going on? And McNulty explains to them what happened, and then the judge made the phone calls, and he talked to the deputy, you know, and he said, listen, the circuit court for Baltimore said that y'all had 60 days on this wiretap, and the court wants their 60 days. And then the deputy tried to explain why he was shutting it down. He said, let me explain something to you. He was like, if you shut this wire down on Friday, you'll be in contempt of court on Monday. And so the wire is going to stay up. So, of course, you know, no sooner did that happen, they paged McNulty, lieutenant, because it's been trickled down. McNulty said, listen, I didn't do it. The judge did it. Go talk to the judge. I didn't have nothing to do with this. And for once, McNulty's right. And I was wrong. It was the judge. It wasn't McNulty. In the meantime, McNulty is following Stringer Bell. He followed up the address of where the car is registered. So he's staking out the house, and he ends up following Stringer Bell. And where does he follow Stringer Bell? Community college. Stringer Bell is at Baltimore City Community College taking classes on macroeconomics, probably getting his degree in business. Because again, we know Stringer Bell is no dummy. Now, in the meantime and in between time, we see D. He have this whole moment with the girl from the club where he talking about having something better, and he talking about, you know, he want to, you know, get rid of, you know, stop selling the drugs. And he was like, you know, I like the money, but I don't like the rest of the lifestyle. And, you know, she was like, well, just quit, just get out. And he was like, well, you don't like dancing, right? She was like, no. He said, well, then just quit. It's not that easy. Exactly. So they have like a little moment, but it just goes to show once again that D is just not, this ain't for him. Like, this just ain't, you know, the deeper and deeper he gets, the more and more he realizes that this just ain't for him. But he don't know what else, he don't know how to get out of it. We see Stringer Bell trying to run some legitimate businesses. Of course, there's somewhere they're laundering the money, but it's like a copy center. And the guys are bringing that, you know, that street mentality. And he was like, don't bring that street mentality here. Like, we're running a legit business, and you have to have customer service. You got to treat the customers right, because at the end of the day, they have other places they can go. So we're just seeing a lot of this moving and shaking going on. Now we see Weebay. I think I've been calling him Bodie the whole time. Sorry, y'all. Weebay, not Bodie. Weebay. What is it, Bodie? I think it's Weebay. I get Weebay and Bodie mixed up. Sorry, y'all. But him and Stickum, you know, they're staking out the corner that, you know, the territory that he about to take over. And they come up with a plan. They sit in the car, and they coming up with this plan of how they're going to, you know, run up on them, and they're going to do this and do that. And they were like, man, we wish Bird was here. Remember Bird, the one that got caught up, Fredro Starr, you know, he got caught up last week. They were like, we know that, you know, Bird was here. Boom, boom, boom. So they come up with their little plan, and they about to roll up on these dudes over to the corner, honey. They got their gloves and their guns and all their hoodies. And out of the corners, who come out the corners with their sawed-off shotgun? Omar. He shoots at all of their asses, okay? Because he takes them by surprise. So he gets Stickum done. Boom, bam. Weebay ends up getting shot. It is Weebay. Is it Weebay? Anyway, the other one ends up getting shot in the leg. And what do we hear? Is it Pop Goes the Weasel? With Omar whistling his signature tune. And he tells him, he said, listen, when you come for the king, you better not miss. Like, you came for me, but you didn't get me. And so you left me open to come back and get you. And he laying there, honey, and he don't know whether he's scared as hell. He don't know whether Omar gonna come around that corner, because his leg, is shot him in the leg. He can't do nothing. But he manages to throw, as he starts hearing sirens in the background, he manages to throw the gun down in the storm drain and get the hell up out of there, honey. Well, him killing Stickum, although I'm sure it made Omar feel good, it sort of jammed up the rest of them, because they had Stickum connected to the bag boy situation a couple of weeks ago, that they had picked up the one with the boy with the patch. They didn't pick him up then because they were continuing to surveil him, but now he dead. And so Kima and Freeman are having a conversation, and Freeman is like, listen, Omar is great. Like, we really appreciate the fact that Omar was looking out for us. But at the end of the day, if he go around here killing all of our suspects, that don't help us. And so they end up having to have a conversation with Omar. Omar, first of all, you know, he ain't say he did it. He totally denied the fact that he had anything to do with the shooting, which of course they know he lying, and he know they lying, and everybody lying. But he says, listen, I will try, and I understand what y'all are saying. He said, but the game still go on. He said, and I got to play the game. Like, it is what it is. If they come for me, I got to protect myself. And, you know, I'm going to help y'all as much as I can. But at the end of the day, I still got to do what I do. You know, they're going to keep coming for me. He said, it's a bounty on my head. They're going to keep coming for me. So Barksdale is meeting with his lieutenants. Of course, they feeling some kind of way because Stickum got killed, and Weebay shot, and all that other Bodie shot, whoever the fuck he is. He got shot and all that good stuff. And Stringer Bell tells him, he said, listen, you might need to back up off this. He was like, what you mean? He was like, I'm going to look weak. I can't back up off of this. He said, no, listen to what I'm saying. He said, it's not so much forever, just for right now. You might want to just back up off of this a little bit and just kind of let him get comfortable. Tell him you want to try to make a truce. Let him come out of his hole, and then we can get him. He said, but right now it's gotten too personal. And, you know, we know that, you know, it's all a part of the game. But at the end of the day, we get too caught up in this, and you really need to take a step back. Now, while they were talking to Omar, they left Omar in front of their board where they have all of their information that they have posted about who's who and what's what. And he sees the picture for Orlando's. So later on in the episode, towards the end of the episode, I think that's even how the episode ends, we see that Omar is staking out Orlando's, because of course now he knows where he can find Barksdale, right? Because that's who he's looking for. Last but not least, I think this is the last little part that we saw. We see Bunk and McNulty down to the bar. Right. No, before that, we have Bunk and McNulty in the precinct. And McNulty is talking to Bunk because he again, I told you, his name is Mud again. And so he's trying to get some stuff done as it relates to the murders and Stringer Bell. And Bunk is telling him, he's like, listen, you know your name is Mud right now. Like, you know right now probably. And he's like, yeah, but, you know, put your name on it, because if I put my name on it, you know they ain't going to do shit for me. Basically, they're trying to figure out how they can get around the fact that they now know that Omar is the one that killed Stickum. And remember, Omar had helped the white dude clear his case. So they're trying to figure out a way that they can basically save the case and not screw everybody. But of course, they're going to end up screwing the white boy, because they're not going to clear his case when it's all over said and done, because Omar can't testify now. He was the eyewitness. They can't put him on the stand. It's all over the wiretap. So later on that night, they're down to the bar. And of course, Bunk, you know, he don't like it. He don't like what he had to do, but he understands that it is what it is. And they're down to the bar getting drunk. Bunk is pissed off at McNulty, but y'all know they got that love-hate relationship. They'll be friends again next week. Bunk ends up leaving with a chick. He gets McNulty to lie to his wife for him. McNulty gives him the side eye. He was like, I lied for you. Like, how many times did I lie for you? So, next thing you know, we see McNulty down to the house. McNulty gets a call from the chick telling him, listen, get your man up out of here. He's trying to set my damn house on fire. Child. So he gets down to this strange woman's house. Bunk is in her bathroom with her pink bathrobe on, with just his necktie and boxes, and he is literally trying to burn his clothes. Why? Because he is so paranoid about going home smelling like another woman, perfume and other things I won't get into. And he is literally burning his clothes. And McNulty is like, what the hell? He's drunk as hell, obviously. McNulty is like, what the hell? So he gets all his stuff. He ends up taking him home. And he's like, why are you burning your clothes? He was like, got to get rid of the trace evidence. You know, because of course he's thinking like a detective. Got to get rid of the trace evidence. Got to get rid of the trace evidence. So McNulty ends up taking him home and lets him sleep in his bunk, you know, one of his son's bunk beds, child. And he ends up telling McNulty, he said, listen, you no good for nobody. Everybody around you just ends up, you know. And so, of course, I'm sure that sits on McNulty's brain a little bit. Last but not least, we see Kima having a conversation with Freeman, and she's sort of confessing to Freeman that she was the one that took Omar's statement, and she knew his statement was probably bogus, but she really wanted to get the win, so she kind of went along with it. And Freeman told her, listen, interrogation is an art. It's something you have to build into. You ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers, and it's cool. Like, it is what it is. Like, we all know we was taking a chance with Omar, but he had pulled all of the dancers from the club, and he was like, look, if you had to pick one of these girls, who you think you would try to turn, who you think we could try to turn and become an informant. And the person Kima picked is who? Dee's girlfriend from the club. She doesn't have a record. She looked like she's kind of innocent in the face, you know. So that'll be interesting to see where we're going to go with that direction. So anyway, y'all, that was episode 8. This was sort of, I wouldn't say it was a filler episode, but there was a lot of laying the foundation for some future things. We had some moving parts going on, right? Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.